Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Monday, November 21st, 2016. The big headline this morning is Pope Francis has said abortion is forgivable within the Catholic faith. And this reverses the historical stance of the Catholic Church, which has always been very much against abortion. Here in the United States, where there's a large Catholic population, you'll see those bumper stickers that come out every election cycle. Catholics against abortion. People's homes, they have the signs in the front yard, people's windows, car windows. The Catholic Church has always been very much against abortion. So today, Pope Francis coming out and saying this, for a lot of people, there's probably a sense of shock. What I'm going to show is why he is coming out today, November 21st, specifically with this announcement. It has everything to do with the Jesuit Order. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope. The Jesuits are the Masonic order within the Catholic Church. Here's a picture of Pope Francis on a train in Argentina, where he's from. What he's doing in this picture is known as the hidden hand. This is a Masonic pose. It shows in a way what these people are about. They're a secret society, keepers of knowledge, holding something back, the hidden hand. Remember, the Freemasons believe in divide and conquer and order out of chaos. The Jesuits are a Masonic order within the Catholic Church. Look at this. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope. The Jesuit Order, their full name is the Society of Jesus. And their birthday is September 27th. Last year, 2015, Pope Francis left the United States on September 27th through Philadelphia. Philadelphia, the city named from Revelation, the final book of the Bible. Catholic Church, Bible, Philadelphia. Anyhow, from the Jesuit Order's birthday to today is 56 days. 56 days, just like the Society of Jesus, which is the Jesuit Order, which Pope Francis is a part of. Again, the Freemasons believe in divide and conquer. And here, within their own faith, this is definitely going to cause division. There's the historical Catholics who've said, what? We've always been against abortion? How many Catholics right now are just fed up with the Pope? This Pope is going against all their historical things that they've been taught. He's come out and said it's cool to be gay. Abortion's okay. These are all things that historically the Catholic Church has not supported. So, again, these figureheads that were given, such as popes, presidents, spiritual leaders, what they really all are part of is this Masonic club, and they are used to steer society. So this will cause division within the Catholic Church. Younger generations will probably be like, okay, it's okay to be gay, abortion's okay. Older generations, they're going to be opposed to it. And, this is how it's done all throughout history. Shaking people up, changing expectations, changing beliefs. It's all by design. All of these things, religion, our education system, our government, they all steer us. And if you pay attention over time, what they tell people, it's always a back and forth. It's about confusing while leading astray, essentially. Look at what's going on right now in the United States. Donald Trump has just been elected the president. By the way, Donald Trump's a Jesuit. He went to the Jesuit Fordham University in New York. I'm thinking about how last year after the Pope visited the United States, do you remember that John Boehner spoke with the Pope, who was the head of the 114th Congress? We're going to be talking about gematria, by the way. John Boehner equals 114. He was the leader of the 114th Congress. Anyway, after the Pope came, he said he spoke to the Pope and he decided he wanted to step down. Remember? Do you remember that? John Boehner is a Catholic too. Jeb Bush went to some prayer service with the Pope, the only Republican candidate who was invited, and then soon after he resigned. That was September 23rd. Anyway, let's go into further why this day was chosen with regards to abortion. There's a lot of ways they could have divided people up in the Catholic Church. Earlier this year, it was done when or maybe that was last year now, where Pope Francis came out and said it was okay to be gay. Now today it's abortion. Let's talk about why abortion today. There's more than just the Society of Jesus connection. Today's date has 68 numerology. Pope Francis in gematria sums to 68. 68 is a number that's often coded around death. Caskets often go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long. Wouldn't be the case for a baby, but when you think of abortion, you think of death. And by the way, for anyone who's watching, abortion, all this is in our society is another divide and conquer topic. Notice every election cycle, it's the same conversation and nothing really changes. We're going to talk about the 44-year anniversary of Roe v. Wade coming up at the beginning of 2017, how that factors in just a moment. But anyway, abortion is just something used to divide us. The reality about abortion is nobody likes abortion. There's probably nobody who's ever got an abortion that wanted to have an abortion. Abortion is a product of what's wrong with this world. We don't have community, and because we don't have community, some people feel alone, isolated, helpless, and those are the people who have abortions. If we had community, if a woman accidentally got pregnant and she knew that she had a community around her that supported her, loved her, would care for her, nobody'd be having abortions. Just think about it. People have abortions for circumstances. They already can't take care of themselves. They already have too many kids they can't take care of. They got raped. It's not like anybody wants to get an abortion. So what we have to do as a society is stop fighting over abortion and start talking about how to heal society. That's where the conversation needs to go. And honestly, even though I realize that this is all divide and conquer and by the numbers, forgiveness is really the thing for if anyone's out there, hating somebody because they had an abortion, what are you really doing? You're just bringing more hate in the world. You think that person really wanted to have an abortion? And if you talk to women who've had abortions, a lot of them have regrets and sadness about it. So, shaming people over it, that's not doing anything either. So today's date, November 21st, day that leaves 40 days left in the year. The word abortion equals 40, and the word 40 itself has a relationship with the number 84, which is the number of the Jesuits. They say Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by a Jesuit. He died on a date with 84 numerology. Whole lot more to Jesuits and assassinations by the numbers, but anyway, Jesuit 84, when you write out 40, it sums to 40. Or when you write out 40, it sums to 84. When you write out United States, it sums to 40. When you write out United States of America, it sums to 84. Interesting, huh? Pope Francis, he's born on a date with 84 numerology. 84. First Jesuit Pope. Again, United States of America, 84. Divide and Conquer, 84. Pope Francis, no doubt part of this Masonic order doing his hidden hand. The Society of Jesus. You think it's a coincidence he left on the Society of Jesus' birthday last year? Absolutely not. And if you missed my work on how the college basketball championship was rigged, the Catholic school just outside of Philadelphia won 191 days after the Pope left. Society of Jesus, in simple English gematria, sums to 191. And that was on 4-4. That's a lot like the number 44. When you take the numbers that divide into 44, it sums to 84. You might recall that Villanova advanced to the championship on 4-4, April 4th, by defeating their opponent, who I think was Oklahoma, if I remember right, by 44 points. Sports are scripted, news is scripted. What we are experiencing in this world is essentially a massive puppet show. People being controlled by this Freemason, Jesuit, Zionist network worldwide. Rigged sports, rigged news, rigged elections. Jesuit Pope, Jesuit President, Donald Trump. Again, I was just talking about how the divisors of 44 sum to 84. 44 is a number associated with killing and death. We'll talk about the 33-day Pope who died on a date with 44 numerology. And again, we're coming up on the 44-year anniversary of Roe v. Wade, which we'll get to in a minute. I just want to show you this. This is last year, September 22nd, 2015, when Pope Francis first arrived in the United States. He got off the plane at 4:04 p.m. Lose the zero in the middle, it's 44. The divisors of 44 sum to 84, the Jesuit number. Pope Francis in Jewish gematria also sums to 404. And if you think that's a coincidence, go back and look this up. The next day, September 23rd, Pope Francis went to the White House lawn. He came out at 9:23 in the morning on 9/23, September 23rd. and that was the 266th day of the year. He's the 266th Pope. When I say this Masonic networks works by the numbers, I'm not joking. I mean, the proof is in doing the research. Notice also that Roe v. Wade was decided January 22nd, 1973. The 44-year anniversary will be January 22nd, 2 days after Donald Trump becomes president. Trump will be the 45th president, but the 44th person to be president. That's because Grover Cleveland messed up the count. He was number 22 and 24, so it's been off ever since. The 25th president was the 24th person. Anyway, 44. Trump is talking about possibly making appointments that will overturn Roe v. Wade. That date, January 22nd, I want to show you something about that in regards to Pope Francis. Pope Francis in simple English gematria sums to 122. And here he is making this big, controversial, announcement today, very close to the anniversary of Roe v. Wade. And now my brain's thinking, let's check what today is from today is to that anniversary. There might be something here that I overlooked. Oops, I want 2017. 62 days or a span of 63 days. Mason 62, 63. If you count every number up to 63, it sums to 2016. Reminds me of how JFK was assassinated in 63. He was the 35th president, the only Catholic president. Catholic equals 35. He was also the 44th term president, JFK. Trump would be the 44th man to be president. If you don't know where I'm getting the 63 from, if you count the start date, it's 63 days. Because when you do it without counting the start date, it's saying 62 days later. Mason 62. Span of 63, maybe relevant to 2016. Some other things about Roe v. Wade. Roe has gematria of 38, just like the word death. Wade has gematria of 33. And 33, a number of sacrifice, a number significant to the Freemasons who believe in divide and conquer and order out of chaos. Roe v. Wade. They made a big deal on the 42nd anniversary. Almost been 2 years since I wrote this post. But 44, again, number of killing and death throughout history. There was the 33-day Pope. He died in his sleep. The Catholic Church covered up his autopsy. It's believed he died from arsenic. I'll show you what arsenic has to do with 33 in just a moment. But notice what day he died. He died September 28th, 1978, the day after the Jesuit Order's birthday. And all throughout history, people have been killed with arsenic because people drink it, it's put in their beverage, and then they die shortly after, oftentimes in their sleep. Arsenic been used to kill people all throughout history without a trace. The date numerology of this event, date with 44 numerology, kill 44. His birth name, this Pope, gematria of 122, also like Pope Francis. And he had the Jewish gematria of 404, just like Pope Francis as well. He said he was going to clean up the Vatican Bank before he was murdered. Again, 33-day Pope. Arsenic is the 33rd element on the periodic table. Arsenic equals 33 in gematria, has an atomic weight of 74. Let's not forget that Jesus equals 74, cross 74, Messiah 74, gospel 74, killing 74, occult 74, Masonic 74, Jewish 74. Jesus crucified at 33 on the cross. Out of the 50 states, only one sums to 74, the 33rd state, Oregon. Think about Oregon, used to be the massive territory. The Oregon Trail. AS, the abbreviation. A is the first letter, S is the 19th. 119. Remember, all-seeing eye, 119, Star of David, master plan, all special numbers here to the gang. And with regards to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits, they are responsible for our calendar system. The word calendar equals 58, like Gregorian, like Freemasonry, like secret society. Secret society also 58. Earlier this year, March 30th, 2016. March 30th, 3 plus 30, 33. Roe versus Wade, Wade 33. Donald Trump. There has to be some form of punishment. Trump that day was saying ban abortions, then punish women who get them. And then he backed off that, and then he said he was just against late-term abortions. He was all over the place on the campaign trail. There has to be some form of punishment. It has gematria of 156. 156. When you write out 33 as a word, it sums to 156. Again, this was on a date with 33 numerology. We're talking about Roe versus Wade. And with regards to 119, remember they announced Donald Trump as the 45th president in the early hours of November 9th? Look at Donald in Jewish gematria. 119. All-seeing eyes, Star of David, master plan. Berlin Wall in gematria sums to 45. Mr. Donald Trump, I want to build a wall, announced as the 45th president on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. The Trump-Pence ticket, a lot like trumpets in Revelation, the warnings. 7 trumpets. Donald Trump will be 70 years old, 7 months and 7 days on Inauguration Day. Order out of chaos equals 777 in Jewish gematria. Again, he's a Jesuit. Jesuits believe in divide and conquer, order out of chaos. They're part of this Masonic order. So anyway, there's something going on here with abortion. The 44-year anniversary, Trump, the 44th president, the Jesuit. The divisors of 44 sum to 84. JFK, the only Catholic president killed in 63. When you count 1 through 63, it sums to 2016. So I think we've covered it all, Truth Seeker. This is no doubt why this news comes today. Divide and conquer, confuse, mislead. I mean, just think about it. We went from Barack Obama, which I told everybody was all part of the agenda to deceive us. I told everybody in 2008, I said, watch, this guy's going to disappoint everyone. They're going to see he's no different than any other politician. And then who knows what will come after that. And what did they do to us? We went from thinking we took a step forward, getting someone, something different, somebody other than a white man for the first time. Now what did we get after Barack Obama? We get Donald Trump, who's associated with white supremacy, just being, he's a blast from the past. They were saying he was the most bigoted candidate on the campaign trail since George Wallace in 1972, which was 44 years ago. All part of the mocking. And, Donald Trump was also front and center when Obama took office with the birther argument. Birther 44, Obama number 44, Trump going to be the 44th man to be president. Think about it. Obama ran on hope. All throughout history, these numbers connected to assassination. I'm going to be doing a video later today on Doctor Who's 88th episode. If you want to read my blog, it's already there, but it factors into what we're talking about. It's amazing. Predictive programming, years in advance. We're living out an agenda. This Doctor Who episode I'm covering later is from 1976, 40 years ago. Yeah, episode number 88. Has to do with the outgoing president being assassinated. Something I've been showing all year. We'll just close out right here. Trump equals 88, like poison and program. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Donald Trump's been on the TV, crammed down your throat all year. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next time.